round one, pick 3, Abdul Carter, the edge out of Penn State. But obviously, one of the best edge rusher prospects we've seen. The Lawrence Taylor number thing was a little bit questionable. He's not going to get that make your own legacy with a different number. We'll see what happens with that. I don't think it'll be number 11 either. I don't think Phil Simms should give his number up like that to Abdul Carter either. Pick your number, stick with it, and figure it out. Round one, pick 25, Jackson Dart, QB out of Mississippi, Ole Miss, whatever it may be. No, he's not Eli Manning. No, he's not Peyton Manning. No, he's not Daniel Jones. He's his own quarterback. You want to do your whole thing with the clap snap count or the double clap fake snap count, fine. You can do that logic. That was in college. He's going to have to learn. He's going to be able to have a year to learn if he really needs it and wants it. And Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen think that's best because he's got 2 veteran quarterbacks in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston that most likely will be still on the team in the fall. And it shouldn't be a problem there. And I think the pick of Jackson Dart is exciting. It's what the Giants think with that first round. If you go into the first round, you have the 5th-year option available now. And you also choose him because you traded back up and you think he's your guy and you thought another team might take him. I don't agree with the second part of that, but I understand the first part of that because it seems like they've always really liked this guy. The rumors have always been there. Joe Schoen's son apparently even knew it pre-draft time, and he wanted him as well. And listen, Joe Schoen's son, the year before that, wanted Jayden Daniels, so maybe he's onto something. Future GM in the works. But we'll have to wait and see for his future. But with Jackson Dart, I do like the pick. I don't know if I like the value, but I do like the pick. And that's like kind of the quick, rapid, even though I went like 3 minutes reaction to those first round picks, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing, touching on Abdul Carter, I think he's a fantastic player. I said this in our round one recap. I think he's the best player in this class. I think Travis Hunter is going to be really, really special, especially considering the Jaguars are going to let him play both sides of the ball, it seems, full time, which is awesome. And I'm super excited to see that, actually. But I think Abdul Carter is the better pure football. He's the best at his specific position, I think is the best way to put it. If the 3 positions that those 2 guys play, Abdul Carter is the best at edge, or is the best at his specific position. Then Travis Hunter is at either cornerback or wide receiver, I think is the best way to put it. So from that standpoint, I think he's excellent. He's really gritty. He's a very, very powerful player as well. I mean, his tape, his production this past season was just amazing. So I was very happy to see him and come into the fold for the Giants. I was a little upset that he went the Lawrence Taylor number route. I thought that was a little bit silly, but I do respect him for giving it a go. But Lawrence Taylor was never moving his number aside, Josh. And I think we could have all predicted that before anyone even trying to go for it. And Jackson Dart, I wasn't a big fan before in round one because of the fact that I thought Shedeur Sanders had better tape. Clearly the issues with Shedeur Sanders based on the fact with him going in the 5th round of the NFL draft, which I don't know if we've talked about this, Josh, but I think it's probably the craziest draft drop in terms of projection to actual pick that we've ever seen. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers on steroids, that situation. Expected to go as almost a certain top 10 to 15 pick, dropping all the way to the 5th round. Was absolutely insane. So, yes, I think Shedeur Sanders is a better quarterback on the football field, but the distractions off the football field and the rumored disastrous interview with Brian Daboll, I'm sure, made it pretty much impossible for the Giants to even have him on their board whatsoever. And I think Jackson Dart, his system wasn't great at Ole Miss in terms of translating to the pros, but I do think his skills, his attributes do translate very well to a Brian Daboll offense. And I think what someone said, I forget who said it or what, so sorry for not giving credit, but this is the first QB the Giants have had in a long time that looks at the field from top to bottom first, that looks deepest and then makes his progressions back toward the line of scrimmage. So he's always looking for that deep ball first before going through his progressions backwards. Daniel Jones definitely did not do that. Tommy DeVito doesn't do that. Like most of the quarterbacks the Giants have had in recent times that they've been experimenting with have not been able to do that. And Jackson Dart does have that. And I think that is perfect for Brian Dable because that's the same way Josh Allen processes things, same way Patrick Mahomes processes things. Not saying he's going to be either of those guys, but it is the commonality that is very important for a quarterback in the modern NFL. And I think, he's not always the safest with the football. He's not always the safest himself when he's, moving around the pocket. But I think he's gritty. He's a great leader. Clearly, his teammates loved him in college. And I think he's going to be a very, very solid NFL player. He may never be, a Super Bowl caliber winner or even a playoff caliber quarterback, but I do think he's going to have a long career in the NFL. And how high he goes from there, I think, depends on how he's able to develop here over the next few years.
Move on to round 3, pick 65, Darius Alexander, a defensive tackle out of Toledo, and a guy that I think the Giants got in pretty good value. I think it just continues to add to that defensive front now with Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeaux, who the Giants picked up a 5th-year option, Brian Burns, Abdul Carter, the list goes on. And I think just really solidifying that line. I know people were kind of not upset, but like saying that the Thibodeaux pickup of the 5th-year option doesn't mean anything. Which, in a way I understand because, again, he still hasn't fully shown what he can be, I feel like, with that kind of round 1 pick level. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens there. But, again, let's go back to Alexander. A 1-gap defensive tackle. He's 6'3", 305, 34-inch arms, great explosiveness, powerful defensive tackle, playing great with leverage. Technically sound, can play in 1-gap defense as a pass rusher or as a run defender. He is disruptive while attacking gaps as well as being able to be a capable run defender. So his long arms also help him with that. And I think now you look at the Giants defensive line. So it's Alexander, Dexter Lawrence. I don't know if he's going to be in front of Nacho. So it's a matter of like how those guys are going to stack up. But again, depth there. And just more competition. I'm happy with that the Giants went defensive tackle here because of their pick after this that Alex and I, can talk about because I wanted him in the 3rd round and the Giants got him in the 4th. So anyway, that's the pick at 65, Darius Alexander. Alex, anything else to add on him?
Yeah, I mean, I just say he was a very much projected 2nd-round guy. When we were doing our 7-round mock drafts, he was a guy I was consistently looking at with pick 34. And he is, I think, a very, very powerful defensive lineman in terms of the pass rush. Run defense, I think, definitely could be improved. But in terms of what he has to begin his career, I think he's going to be a great rotational piece for the Giants, like you said, mixing and matching with Nacho and other guys in that defensive tackle room. But he definitely has the potential to be a very, very effective 3-down, all-down defensive tackle alongside Dexter Lawrence. And I think he was the best player available on the board at the time. So I was happy to see that Joe Schoen, once again, I'm going to keep repeating this because it is very important, decided, hey, I'm not going to, just because I drafted Abdul Carter, just because we already have Dexter Lawrence, doesn't mean I'm not going to take the best player that's on the board, even though there may be other positions that the Giants needed depth in a little bit more. But a very, very good pick. And, a slightly smaller school guy, was the best defensive lineman at the Senior Bowl. And, the Giants definitely met up with him there, had him in for a top 30 visit, which is also a common theme because I believe 6 out of the 7 picks in this draft all came for top 30 visits. So another, I guess, theme of this class that we're getting to see, Josh.
Okay, round 4, pick 105. I wanted to talk about this guy. This was like my sleeper pick for the New York Giants in this draft. I've loved him before even the draft, just from watching him during the season at Arizona State, college football playoff stuff. This guy is an absolute dog. He's a beast. His name's Cam Skattebo. He's a running back out of Arizona State. The Giants picked him in round 4, pick 105, which, again, I think is an absolute steal. If we're given grades, that's an A. Alex, you know this. I was texting you about this. I was mad when the Giants, with their 65th pick, picked Alexander over Skattebo. I wanted him in the 3rd round, and the Giants had faith, I guess, because, 50 picks later, they were able to still get him at 105. He barrels people over. People are criticizing him a little bit with his small size. I understand that he's like 5'5", like he's pretty. I think he's really, really short. Regardless, this guy is a wrecking ball. I mean, it's not like Saquon Barkley levels where he's like, jumping over guys. He's a different type of running back. He's a player that's really old school football oriented at the running back position. He is going to truck you over. A good comparison that I saw, I think he's even a little more physical than this guy. But if you remember David Montgomery in like sort of a system where he's just like a tremendous like lateral runner and his contact balance. That's what I'm saying, like in between the tackles. But even though the thing is, he lacks speed that other running backs in this draft in the NFL have. He's not a very fast running back. The way he's going to beat you is running you over. That's what he does. And that's what the Giants got to pick 105. I'm so excited to watch him in training camp and during the season. He's going to be used again, probably like Alexander in a different way as a rotational piece, though, for the Giants alongside Devin Singletary, Tyrone Tracy. But I think that back system, it's going to be pretty cool to watch him.
Yeah, I'd say every single player post round 3 and onwards or round 2 and onwards, you could have said that you would have taken them at the pick before. I think you could say that for every single player that they were projected even earlier. And the next guy you're going to talk about, Josh, is the same thing. But Scattaboo, I think he's a great pair with Tracy just because he's such a downhill runner. He reminds me a lot of Ahmad Bradshaw, actually, Josh, for a more Giants-related comparison. And I think the Tyrone Tracy on more third downs, more passing situations with Scattaboo, more in there for short yardage situations, more goal line situations, kind of like a David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs type situation. And I do think he's an excellent runner. He's a really tough runner.
I'm not saying we have, by the way, David Montgomery and
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying
and
same type.
oh my God, you just said his name,
Jahmyr
Montgomery
Gibbs.
and Jahmyr Gibbs. Thank you. That's the
Yeah,
other running back. But yeah,
I think, but I do think it's a very nice running back room now. I'm not saying it's the most elite backs, but with an improved offensive line, hopefully, I think these guys are going to be very, very successful. And Scattaboo, I'm not sure if you saw the reaction to him, picking up the phone and becoming a Giant. He really wants to be a New York Giant. And, you can't discount that as a big factor as well.
And did you see he posted on Twitter a picture of him in a Strahan jersey? That's not
Yes,
something that
yeah.
he like went to the store and bought, or at least I don't think so. Like that's something he had in the closet, like ready. I mean, I don't know if he grew up a Giants fan, or admires Michael Strahan, but that was super cool to see. And yes, Alex, that's another thing. Like the way he was, he was crying, he's very emotional. He is gonna lay his life down for this team. And again, if you also see him in the post-game press conference for Arizona State after that loss in the CFP playoffs, like his jersey, like his shoulder pads are out, the jersey's ripped, and he was just talking about how much he loved his school in college. And I just feel like that's a guy that is a great locker room presence, and he's going to give you his all. And that's really, really why I liked him coming out of the draft. So that's what the Giants got at round 4. And Alex, someone who liked him at round 4 too, wanted him in round 5. Bobby Skinner, I was watching him. He was like, I want this guy at round 4. The Giants pick Scattaboo. They come back around. And then again, almost it's 40 picks later, about 39. At this point, it's the 5th round. It's number 154. And the Giants get Marcus Embo, the offensive lineman out of Purdue. And he's 6'4", 300 pounds. So the reason he fell was some people liked or didn't like the questions about his medical record, a little bit of injuries, and also the size concerns that he's only 6'4", 303. But I mean, this guy, he plays with violence. He said when he got drafted in I think it was like an interview, he's like, I want to push people over. And he has film. You look up film at this guy at Purdue, he pushes people over on the D-line. So, I'm excited to watch him again. This is a 5th round pick, but as you said, Alex, a guy who was expected to go earlier. So a player to definitely look out for, another rotational piece and someone who could be used in the offensive line and the depth as a depth piece. And just again, stacking that O-line, it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, Brian Dable said he's initially going to start as a tackle, but I'd project him more as a guard based on his size. He's also taken snaps at center, so a lot of flexibility. And a guy who was projected to go early 3rd round and getting him in the 5th round obviously dropped with some of those medical issues. The Giants have said they didn't have any medical issues with him. So got to trust our doctors, hopefully. And I think he's a very, very good player, and happy to get him on day 3, let alone in the 5th round, Josh.
All right, we move on to the next player who Alex is very happy about in terms of predictions. The 7th round prediction somehow we got in our mock draft, round 7, pick 219.
It is crazy that happened. Like that, the odds are so low.
That is wild. And we had, again, Alex, I don't know if it was all the same mock draft, but the Abdul Carter pick at 3, the trade back in for Jackson Dart at QB, having Scadaboo in one of our mocks we had, Fedone in one of our mocks we had. I mean, I don't know if they were all the same.
Darius Alexander was like this close in 2 of the mocks. Like we were pretty close on these guys.
Pretty good. So Thomas Fedone, the second tight end out of Nebraska, raw talent. I mean, this guy is only a player that doesn't really have many touchdowns. That's something we touched on. I don't even think he had a touchdown in 2024. He had 4 the previous year. And again, you're just taking a risk on someone here. He'll be another player. I hate to keep using the word depth, but that's just kind of what it is with these later round guys, and someone who has a possibility of making the practice squad or the team at the end of training camp. And that is pick 219, Thomas Fedone, and then round 7, pick 246, Corey Black, cornerback out of Oklahoma State. This is the one player in this draft, which I'm pretty impressed, by the way, that I knew at least of, or like something about most of these players. It took until the end of the 7th round to not know about Corey Black, 6 foot, 192 pounds, quarterback out of Oklahoma State. He was electric in terms of speed at the combine, or at whatever the he wasn't at the NFL combine. It was his pro day. Yeah, he ran a 4.35 and had a 39-inch vert. He's super fast. He mostly plays in I think it was cover 3 and cover 4.
He's a big zone corner, not as much press, which is kind of fits Shane Bowen. And I think he was projected to go a lot earlier too, Josh. 5th round-ish, 4th round. And
did you know about him before the pick?
I did, just because he came in for a top 30 visit with the Giants. So that was another guy, 6 out of the 7. The only one who didn't come in, I believe, was Fedone. So yeah, I mean, I didn't do much in-depth research, but I recognized his name at least from those visits. But I like him a lot. I think he has potential to be a decent contributor even in year 1, because that cornerback spot, I know they brought in Paulson Adebo, but there's still a lot of competition to be had there, and spots to be had, especially in the rotation. So I like Corey Black, and I think he's going to be a good player.
And then going into actually, let me wrap up with the draft first. Round 1, pick 3, Abdul Carter, edge out of Penn State. Round 1, pick 25, Jackson Dart, QB, Mississippi. Round 3, pick 65, Darius Alexander, defensive tackle, Toledo. Round 4, pick 105, Cam Scadaboo, running back, Arizona State. Round 5, pick 154, Marcus Embo, O-line out of Purdue. Round 7, pick 219, Thomas Fedone II, tight end out of Nebraska. Round 7, pick 246, Corey Black, cornerback, Oklahoma State. Alex, let's wrap it up with the draft here and just say, as you mentioned in the beginning, really all different positions covered, best players available covered, steals check. I mean, I don't know what more you can ask from Joe Schoen here. I know, we're at a certain point, you can even say gloating over this draft, and I'm not ashamed of it, because this was a very successful draft out of Joe Schoen, again, from the raw prospects that we're seeing right now before they develop in the NFL. They look like really good players who can, most of them at least, look like they can transport well into the NFL system.
Yeah, no, and I think the main theme is toughness and grit of this draft class, and I think that's what I hinted at earlier. All these guys are going to fight tooth and nail on the football field, and that's something I love to see, and something that kind of brings an identity to this football team, which has been missing since those Super Bowl years, many, many years ago. So excited about that, and I think this football team, on paper, of course, football's not played on paper, one of my favorite quotes, but is very much improved from last season, and probably the best pure roster we've had in terms of talent, probably since 2016. So I am very excited to see what they can do. Very tough schedule, and there's obviously a ton of question marks. But in terms of what they've done this offseason, I've been very impressed.